where I am now is ready to move on and step, it's gonna sound cringe, but step into my power, and really step into my most confident self that I've ever been. So I might be wearing the same jumper that I was wearing in last year's video, but like the vibe is going to be very different today because this past 12 months has been very different to what it was when I made last year's video. So this is going to be very rambly. I am very dissociated right now. My depersonalization has gone, hey, you're burnt out, let's kick your ass. So yeah, plus I just haven't filmed a YouTube video in a while, which links to the burnout and the DPD flare-up that I just mentioned. I have my journal here. This is what this is. I've just been writing in that because I thought, hey, I need to do this. I need to actually reflect on the past 12 months and kind of compartmentalize this a little bit and kind of just get it out in a more structured format to talk about it. Because I like making these videos as I'm approaching my birthday. It's currently Tuesday the 28th of November. My birthday is Monday the 4th of December. I'm turning 23. And yeah, I said towards the end of my video from last year where I was talking about kind of what I was planning on doing when I turned 22, and one of like the biggest statement I made there was that I was about to step into my most confident and powerful version of myself. I didn't know then fully what that meant or what it was going to take to get there. I didn't even realise then, like as I watched it back, that video from last year, last night, and I watched it, and when I heard myself say that, I was like, oh, oh girl, you had no idea how much God was going to be like, oh, so you want to do this? Okay, well, buckle in, because it's a lot rougher of a journey than you think it's gonna be, girl. Just prepare yourself. And that, I think, is the best way I can describe the past 12 months, is just one hell of a journey. And I'm gonna say this, and it's like, I know you're listening, so take notes. Please allow me to reap the rewards of this past 12 months in 2024, please, 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 because I don't want to go through this again. At least not for another 5 years, which I'll get into later in this video, but yeah, it's just been a bit of a mess. I was looking back after I watched my video from last year. I was looking back at some of my videos I made in the beginning of this year, having just turned 22, and it's such a different energy, and obviously I can't really fully remember how I felt back then emotionally, because depersonalization does that to you. I remember having such different goals and such a different vision for my life, as much as I was still struggling, and things started to sort of hit the fan pretty early on. And there was a video where I kind of referenced that, and that links into one of the 3 main bullet points I think that I managed to sort of sum up this year with. Yeah, it's been very difficult to just kind of like write down at least kind of either what I achieved this year or kind of what happened, because it's all just been a bit of a mad blur. It's like things started to sort of, like the ball started to get rolling in February, and then all of a sudden it's like April and things are even crazier, and then the summer was just insane, and then now we're kind of in the autumn approaching the winter, and October was such a mad month. Yeah, I like to make these videos because it's good for me to just talk about my life experience. That's a lot of what I do on this channel, is I use my life experience and my experience with mental health struggles and just life experience, and like I've just said about 3 times, to hopefully help some other people out there who perhaps are feeling the same way or going through the same things. A lot of this journey that I've been on this year has kind of been led by a quote that I always put on my vision boards every year, which is, "Be who you needed when you were younger." And that's a quote that I've aimed to sort of live up to, and I think this year, especially like right now, I've only just realised that I'm finally becoming that person. I'm in such sort of a protectionist mindset now, like protecting myself and very sort of conservative with my energy and who I let into my life, and very careful around like red flags, and that's either like red flags in like just environments or red flags in like specific people, and really purposefully putting myself in places because I want to improve myself. But again, it's also kind of trying to protect my younger versions of myself and my inner child, and I think that's really helped my healing journey this year, because there's been a heck of a lot of healing. One of the main, like getting into kind of the bullet points, the first bullet point really is to do like with my love life. I won't go into too much detail. I'm going to make a whole video about how I sort of healed my attachment issues, my experiment with Tinder. I went from kind of a dating app hater to kind of going into like an experiment with it, like trying it out. I'm still kind of in the process of that, but I've come to like some conclusions, and that's been a whole separate journey, so I'm going to make a whole video about that. But that's been a massive part of this year, is just chaos around my love life. And I've talked a lot about, on this channel and also my Instagram, about healing from the abusive relationship that I got out of last year, and obviously I was talking a lot about that in last year's video because it just happened about like 5 months prior, and I was still very much in the healing process of that, and I was saying to my video like I hadn't fully healed and like acting like I was fully healed there, and I feel like now I am, although I do know that there are parts of that and like the thought processes, like the thought patterns and things that could come up that I can only heal through getting into my next relationship, and like I can only heal with other people. And again, I'm not going to go too much into that because I'm planning on making a whole video about that whole thing and healing from abuse in that way, and kind of getting back out there into the dating scene and learning different things, especially if you're still quite new, like haven't got that much experience, because that's how I was. But yeah, it's been a lot of just learning about what my values are, who I am in terms of my morals, and really becoming really strong in those and using those and being vocal about those, and really, like I said, just standing strong in them and exercising them in social situations. And that kind of leads me on, kind of leading off my love life, is also like my friendships have changed quite a lot, and my views around female friendships has kind of changed, and then kind of like gone back, and that's been a whole complicated thing. And again, that kind of links back to the kind of the protectionist mindset that I've been in terms of protecting my energy and making sure I only put it in places where I feel like it's being respected and nurtured, and that make me feel good, and that like it's not just one-sided. I think there's a weird pattern I've noticed in my life where every 5 years my life, especially like my social life and like that environment, changes completely. Like something happens that completely sort of just wipes the slate clean and makes me question everything, and I end up in like a completely different situation than what I was prior to it. And that's kind of happened again this year. The last time it happened was 2018, that's why I say 5 years. And like I said, it's happened again, and it's always just like it was a big event that makes you question everything. It's like a series of kind of small events and like a big blowout kind of massive event that just makes me question everything. And as I say, going back to what I was saying about like my values and my morals, like really standing strong in those, and standing up, especially this year, standing up for my inner child and my younger selves who wouldn't have had the confidence to kind of speak up and kind of be independent and make big moves without needing like external validation at all, or like needing reassurance. You know, if I don't just stand there in the face of injustice and don't do anything, you know, like I actually have the confidence now have that fire within me to actually do something about it. So like that links in like my social life and what I was saying, as to say, about my morals and my values and really becoming an adult, I suppose. Yeah, 22's really been a year of me kind of just, I don't know, being stood in social situations sometimes and feeling like I'm way more mature than those around me, feeling like I'm more of an adult, but then in other ways I feel still quite young. It depends what environment I'm in and what I'm having to deal with, and I've always felt like I guess I'm a little bit more mature than like my friends or whatever. That hasn't always been respected or necessarily had the chance to fully flourish because of people-pleasing habits I used to have, or just insecurity and lack of self-confidence. But now that that's fully kind of flipped on its head, and as I said at the beginning, you know, I could fully say now that like I am, well, that like I alluded to at the beginning, you know, I'm able to stand here now and be, well, sit here, but you know, I'm able to be like, yeah, this is the most confident and sort of badass version of myself that I've ever been. And as much as this year has been one hell of a whirlwind, I really have God to thank for that. Because without this whirlwind of a journey of learning and meeting so many people and losing people at the same time, and that all happening in such a just weird circumstance, and the way I've dealt with certain emotions and triggers from my past and thought processes and how I've sort of grown and changed, and it's just, yeah, it's all been very, very complicated. As I kept saying, you know, it's very difficult to even sort of create or like a timeline or kind of like line my thoughts up or my feelings up or just whatever from this year. It's all just like a big jumble. You can't sort of untie it properly, so that's why it's all coming out all a bit rambly. But I do also make like these long form videos, and I like to watch them a lot and just like to just sort of spill, so hopefully this is interesting. Yeah, and I guess the third point that I wanted to bring up, I guess is kind of what I was talking about, like my confidence, really, my purpose, I think, and my goals and what I wanted to do with my life, and my confidence and kind of who I am and my core values in terms of what I want for my career, what I want for my life, and whatever. And it links back to what I was saying in the end of my kind of turning 22, what I learned from being 21 video last year, because at that time I was trying to launch a graphic design business, and I was also trying to develop what was my major project at university, a student reform collective that aimed to tackle the stereotype around student living. But unfortunately, I think what I can blame for this was probably like the love life aspect of my life, and all sort of the life events that happened, as I say, just even at the beginning of the year, that really just threw off that trajectory completely. And I think I was so focused at the beginning of this year on like, this is my lifestyle that I want to live in Manchester, I want to, you know, be completely self-made, and I still want to do that. It's just the way in which I want to do it has changed quite a lot. A big journey I went on this year was trying to find a job, and I talked a lot about that in last year's video about, like, you know, my opinions about the graphic design industry not exactly being very popular at my university towards the end, and yeah, that was a weird thing because I then kind of flipped on its head a little bit, because I was like, well, I need to find this job in order to kind of make money because my businesses weren't flourishing because I wasn't putting enough work into it, frankly. But also my mental health was doing weird things, as it always does, and I think just the environments that I've been in and the mindsets, the mindset changes because of life events and everything has just been a lot. It's been a mess. It's been a mess. So those plans weren't meant to work out at that time, and I get that now because now I currently work at my local spa shop. I have done since August. But yeah, the graphic design industry, how my opinions changed. I mean, I don't know if I should do a separate video on this and how my opinions of the industry have changed, and just through experience and talking to people and just experience trying and failing to get a job. Those who are graduating, I guess, you need to know, like, they're gonna want experience. A lot of jobs want at least 1 year's experience, which is very difficult. If, like my cohort, you know, you didn't really have access to placements or anything. I say probably go for an internship, but they're not the best paid, so you know, it is, as I say, it is a bit of a mess. Everything happens for a reason, and I've been very angry at God a lot this year for what I thought like was him lying to me, or not really sure where I was meant to go. I was feeling very low at a lot of points because I felt like I was lying to myself that I could be self-made, or like lying that I was good enough in terms of like my creative skills. Everything happens for a reason, truly, and that is something that I have to remind myself of, because it's been very difficult to see that with all the chaos. What felt at the time like me not making a lot of progress felt just kind of a lot like, oh, nothing's really like moving forward, everything just feels like it's staying the same, or even like moving backwards, and like I'm falling behind compared to everyone else. But in the ways that I've sort of stepped up for myself, and you know, the latter half of the year, the way things just sort of not fell into place, but kind of like the moves that I sort of had to make, like applying for my local job. I didn't want to do that, obviously. It was like a last resort, absolute last resort. Like we'd got to that point where it was like applying for retail jobs, and I have a stammer, so it's a lot like, you know, I have a speech impediment, which I talk a lot about on my podcast channel. Oh yeah, I started a politics podcast in September that I've only uploaded 3 episodes, and if you all the links in the description, by the way, and I still need to make another video on that channel. We'll get to that, apart from like the goals or whatever. I'm about to get to that, but yeah. So we got to like the last straw, applied to retail, and because of my stammer, because of my speech impediment, I didn't think I was going to be very suited to that. And not gonna lie, it's been a bit difficult sometimes if I'm on till a lot on a bad day with my stammer. It is quite difficult to talk, but I like say the prices of things and whatever, but I get through it and I waddle through, and I've met some great people through that job, and it's actually, you know, I don't hate it anymore. So, and it's stable, it's money, it's the, you know, the most stable and abundant financially I've ever been, which was a massive goal of mine. So it's a way of like, you know, sometimes the route isn't conventional, it's not necessarily where you want to be in the end, but God always has a way of being like, okay, you want this, you're gonna get it. It's probably not going to be exactly what you want right now, but you know, it's going to give you the stepping stones to hopefully start to rethink where you want to be. And that's where I am at the moment. Because at the end of my last video from last year, I was talking a lot about like my goals, and as I say, I was talking about like my business and Student Reform Collective and where I want to be, and I want to move to Manchester. Like I say, I still want to do that. It's just the route that I'm going to take, as I already mentioned, to get there has changed, but I just need to figure out exactly what it is. I would highly recommend that you guys follow me on Instagram, AnnaIsRandom YT. Over there is really where I found a lot of my creative freedom in terms of content creation. I made a few videos on this channel, but the YouTube side of things has kind of faded a little bit. That's because of mental health, life. Instagram really, because a lot of my healing journey this year has been on Instagram. I found such freedom in embracing femininity and my skills for photography, which I've been doing since like 2020, but really like stepping up my game. And if you go over there, you know, I think I'll put a few examples of the stuff that I do over there on the screen. But I'm really trying to think about how I can expand that past just my photo shoots and my little like outfit reels that I do sometimes, really kind of expand it over there and really talk more about why that helps me and why I think it should help other people as well, other women, because there is something really beautiful about just embracing the bodies that we were given, and the fact that just the female figure and being a woman and the power and the beauty that holds, and the way that can be enhanced through lingerie, through makeup, through photography and creativity, and just our God-given abilities and traits is just something that I'm really trying to embrace, because I feel like it is something that God's been leading me to this year. And yeah, perhaps I'll talk a bit more about that over on my Instagram. It's a bit more relevant to that, I suppose, than talking about it here, but that's been a lot of what I've been doing this year when I haven't been on YouTube, is being on Instagram. In the new year, I do want to niche down quite a lot and create more strategy and just be a bit more intentional. Be more intentional, but be more relaxed. And I think in the last few days I've realised you know, I'm getting very sucked into people I'm inspired by and don't necessarily realise that I'm kind of comparing myself to other people and like not necessarily consuming content in a very healthy way. So I need to really figure out how I can just consume content for inspiration and be inspired by it rather than compare myself, because the fashion burnout and like the creative burnout I've been experiencing over the past sort of few days and a week, in terms of just burnout in general, just with my mental health because of my DPD flare up, but also in terms of like fashion for some reason, and like makeup and even like my nails, like trying to decide what to do, and like my styling ability and like my creativity in terms of that, which I love so much. I've always loved fashion ever since I was a kid. Even with that, you know, it's a stressor now, and I think that's what I've realised. I've really been comparing myself to other people, I think, and consuming maybe too much in an unhealthy mindset that I don't even realise. Sometimes I don't necessarily realise what's happening until I really sit with myself and like actually just sit in the uncomfortable feeling and go, hey, this isn't cool, why is this happening? Oh yes, this is why, because we've dealt with this before, but I didn't realise because of other things. This has been a mess. This year has been a mess. The past 12 months have been a mess. 22 has been a mess. But oh my god, 23 needs to be better. Needs to be better. And again, going back to kind of like the 5-year thing, this is how I was at the end of 2018. That was such a terrible year in terms of just being a mess, and like my entire social life had fallen apart, and I was just in a very weird place then. But I think that I sheltered myself more then because I was like burying myself in my A-levels at the time. Now, because I don't have that anymore, all I have is like my job and being an adult. I need to like really hone in on what makes me me. This is weird because it's the same point I was saying at the end of last year's video, but like my Instagram content, you know, my photography, really trying to up my game. I'm gonna buy myself like a projector for Christmas hopefully, so I can do like things like this, which have been on my Pinterest board for ages. And I think would be absolutely amazing. Really expand on what I'm doing with my Ann Summers partnership. I didn't mention that. Again, if you go to my Instagram, that's a lot of what I do over there in terms of like the female empowerment side of things. I've become a sisterhood ambassador for Ann Summers. My web shop link, which is technically like an affiliate link, I get commission for it, is in the description. If you want to go treat yourself, I know Black Friday's like just been or whatever, but like Christmas, you know, you still have time for your Christmas shopping. And Summers don't just do lingerie, they also do like dresses and bodysuits and accessories like tights and jewellery and sleepwear as well, so it's not just the sexy stuff. Before everyone thinks Ann Summers is dead kinky. No, it's not. We have a whole range of stuff, so have a browse if you want to support me in my content. That's like the slightly not sponsored but kind of affiliate bit out of the way. Trying to rethink my life. I think 23, now that I'm in this place of confidence, I think my social life is going to be okay. You know, I'm secure enough in myself now to be okay by myself if that happens to be where I am again, or you know, I'm secure enough in myself not care so much anymore about like, you know, having a great social life, or like, because I know now that more people will come if things don't work out. I think that's one of the biggest lessons I've learned. No matter how much it hurts and no matter how much you thought people were going to be in your life forever. And I think actually thinking back in 2018, I made a video about this same kind of topic after my big reset, and I was wearing the same jumper. This is like the reset jumper. Hey, life can be a mess, but at least we have a comfy jumper. What to expect from my social media, I think, is just a lot more of life experience. I'm gonna really start hitting the gym more, so it's gonna be like more gym content, more female empowerment content, and like talking more about that on my Instagram, I guess, and I'm probably going to bring some of that over to this channel. And my politics podcast, if any of you are political at all or like have any interest in that, that's going to be something I'm going to really try and put an effort into, although I have been trying to keep away from politics at the moment with the whole Palestine-Israel conflict, because it is very overwhelming and it's really polarising and dividing, and it's been really overwhelming when I'm dealing with like a DPD flare-up and everything else. I'm trying to like focus on the positive, so I haven't exactly had like the mental energy to be looking into politics too much, but once I do, I'll be back on that podcast channel. Don't you worry about that. 23, I guess, you know, the message I want to say, I haven't done this before, but like the message I want to say to me this time next year, about to turn 24, is I just hope you're happy and have finally started to make a living from being you and being creative. And I know you can't feel it right now in this version of yourself, like, because your DPD is making you not, like, I don't know who I am anymore. But once you get back to yourself, you know, and this time next year, I really do hope that you're in a better situation in terms of what you do for work. I know you don't hate your job right now, but I do hope that your creativity and the work that you've done in the past 12 months, sitting here right now in this present moment, you know, in the past 12 months, that this version of you has done in the past 12 months, rather, starts to pay off, and quite literally, you know. 22 really taught me that men can be trash. But we know how to spot them now properly, and incredibly secure in yourself finally. You are finally the most confident you've ever been. Your fashion sense has improved so much, like and I hope that me turning 24, it's improved even further. My makeup skills as well, I've loved the makeup that I've been doing this year. So yeah, like, putting effort into me really has been a theme of this year in the past 12 months, and I hope that continues. And you've just gotta sometimes just keep swimming, you know? Use the Dory quote, just keep swimming. Because that's certainly what I've been doing this year. Anyone else who's watching this, I hope you're happy as well, and that we can use the next 12 months to become happier than perhaps we are now. Adult better. I'm gonna stop rambling now. I feel like now is a good time to stop rambling. But happy birthday to me. By the time I always upload this actually on my birthday, so it'll be happy birthday to me, 23, woohoo. I'm gonna do a little photo shoot and long caption on my Instagram or whatever, so go follow me over there. Again, please do that. Here's to another great year of self-improvement, another year of my 20s. I hope to see you guys in future videos, and let's do this together. Happy birthday to me. Hope you guys are doing okay. I shall see you guys in the next one.